right, we are live. How's that sound? Good? Even though there's only one person here and I'm pretty sure that's me. Well, welcome. I'm Trent Walker, as most of you know. This is Between Two Slopes, and we're going to be talking about ski quivers today. But a couple housekeeping items, right? The channel is growing, it's doing great, so don't forget to like, subscribe, ring the bell for notifications, all that fun YouTube stuff. And then follow us over at Instagram. I post funny stuff all the time. So, welcome. We are talking about a ski quiver today. So we've had a lot of conversations about preferences and does a ski quiver almost even matter, right? Turn down the music on it. I did a sound check before, but obviously not good enough. How's that? I can edit all this out after too. Anyways, so welcome to Between Two Slopes. Excited to be here. We're talking ski quivers. We've been talking, preferences, and when we had Connor on here, we talked about, he's kind of skiing a powder ski all the time. So why would I need a ski quiver if I can just kind of pick my ski and get used to it? So that's kind of the discussion we're going to have today. And if you have any questions, go ahead, drop them in the comments. I'll get to them. You can drop them in live, and that'd be great, and I'll answer them right now. If not, if you're watching this back later, drop them in and I'll get to them. So, we're going to talk about my journey through my ski quiver, right? Just to give you guys an idea of how I pieced it all together, how I got to where I am today, and then how that same kind of mindset can apply to you. So to do that, we are okay. If Rixels is in the chat, it's his fault. If Rixels in the chat, it's his fault. Oh, the sound is weird. Just kidding. Okay, so we're gonna throw back to 2013. That's the season. I got these right here. This is the Forefront Turbo. It's a 104, 182 length, great all-mountain ski, full wood core. If I'm remembering correctly, there's not any extra composites or anything crazy in here, but a really solid ski, a little bit heavier, and it really did a lot of awesome things for me. It helped me improve on my form and learn to ski backwards, all that good stuff. So, fantastic ski. This is what I started with, all mountain ski, and since I'm skiing in Utah and in the West, I mostly am on softer stuff. This thing still kills groomers, which is awesome, but yeah, great all mountain ski. So then I left on a church mission for 2 years, came home, and I got these guys. 102, a little bit lighter, still just as versatile, just as fun. And this ski, right, I had a couple of years on it, became more of a, hard pack groomer only, just because of the weight. It gave me kind of that stability I could get at high speeds. Not to say that this couldn't, but this just had a different feel to it. And so icy days, I could really trust in these. So then I got a new pair of boots, and you can see here I've got some spots on my skis, and that's where it had to be remounted because I went down 2 sizes in ski boots. So I remounted these, but these I was unable to remount. I didn't have the mount at the time, and now they are currently unindemnified. I sucked them in, but unfortunately, when I did that, I just don't feel as secure in there. So I actually don't ride these anymore because I don't want to hurt myself. But still a fantastic ski. So got these became my rock ski. And then I was looking at how to build out my quiver, like what did I want next? So I started to want to hit more powder Because this being a 102, it did decent in powder, but I wanted something surfier. And so sometimes people think, oh, I only need one pair of skis. And you know, for the most part, that's true. But if you have a little extra money and you're looking to get a new pair of skis, it doesn't mean you have to get rid of your old skis. You can always sell them and put that money towards a new pair of skis. But you have something like this, a great daily driver, then you get, you could go for a big jump like I did and move to something like the Atomic Bench Shelter 120s, right? Because in the Venn diagram of skis, the conditions for this ski and the conditions for this ski don't overlap, like hardly at all. And so it creates more of a opportunity to, you know, go have fun on this ski when conditions are right, and then also have this ski when conditions are less than ideal, right? Less powder. And so that option of having these two skis, if I could like go back in time, I would, or if I was telling someone like you guys right now, having two skis can be really awesome, right? And I don't think you really need more than that. Obviously, I have more. But you can really fit your Venn diagram of conditions and terrain into two skis, I would say. Something like this and something like this are awesome. So now you may be asking yourself, well, Trent, if that's the case, why do you have this ski, this ski, this ski, and your wife's skis are hidden here? Yes, these are my wife's. They're amazing, just like she is. So that's a great question, and one I'm gonna answer for you. Also, how's it? I'm standing up today, trying something new. So let me know if this is weird or not. But I figured it'd be easier to point at them instead of just have my giant head and go like this. So, let's do a brief overview. Skis. So 120, they are Karuba wood. They have carbon fiber stringers. They also have a mounting plate, so a little more stability underfoot, a little stiffer underfoot. Then you have your Forefront Devastators, full wood. I believe they have carbon fiber as well, full rocker, no camber. This is the Gallant ski. This is full poplar core with 2 sheets of triaxial fiberglass overlay and carbon fiber stringers, much lighter than I intended. This ski is also full poplar core, light ski. We already talked about that ski, and I don't remember the wood composite in this one, and these are my wife's. So the reason I tell you that is so that we can understand the dimensions and then understand how those dimensions affect how they ski. So this ski is too small for me and has demo bindings. So it's a good ski that I take out if I'm going to take out my kids and ski with them. Or if someone needed a pair of skis, I could adjust these. This ski, being that it's so lightweight, has a ton of rocker in the tip and not a ton in the tail. This ski is perfect for backcountry and or tree skiing, right? And that's why I put a shift on it. Lightweight, easy to maneuver, good surf, but anything, you know, really steep and deep, we go here. So once again, the terrain or the situation for these is something I wouldn't want to take these in, simply because I'd probably be hiking with these, and that's why they're so light. So that's where these skis come in. These are probably the skis I ski the least. They're just a little light for my taste, and I'm normally skiing resort. However, still a fun ski. So then we move into the Devastators. Now the Devastators have really become my daily driver. This ski has become more of my rock ski, and this ski's retired. So what I mean by daily driver is most days I'm taking this out. What's up, Rixels? Except for it's not Rixel, your name is something else, but what's up? So this ski is normally the one I'm taking out full rocker. Now, cambered skis give you a little more bite on the groomer. So you might be thinking, which maybe you're not, but you might be thinking, why do you have a full rockered ski as your daily driver? Well, this ski and a lot of ski technology this day in age, also has what's called like a 3D edge. Everyone uses a little different terminology, but basically what that means is the more that you get this ski to flex and carve, the more edge you're going to have contacting. So though it's full rockered, if you can lay it down, you still get pretty good edge contact. So it does pretty good as a daily driver for where I'm going. It does trees, it's a 108, so if I have a little bit of snow, a little bit of fresh, I can go into the trees and still do pretty good. The older Devastator model was much heavier, much heavier. They lightened it up for the year before this and moving forward. So I really liked it. However, I do think that I've become a little disillusioned by it because having a little camber is nice. So, however, something that cambered skis can't do that this can, that I love, is I can swivel into a turn and I don't have to commit to the turn like I would with a cambered ski. So that's really cool. And that's why I like this as my daily driver. It's because really playful, easy to maneuver, fun, goes anywhere. And then we jump to the Bent Shetler 120, and it's a little lighter than I like for a typical ski, and usually powder days in Utah last until about noon and then everything's skied out. So I wanted to make sure that I had a binding that was a little heavier so that when everything became skied out and choppy, the heavier binding helps offer a little bit more suspension for the ski. So those are kind of how I look at the different skis. But when people came to me at the shop and they say, like, I really like my skis right now. I have something like these, and I really love them, but I really want to get a new pair of skis. What do I get? And they start looking at the all mountain skis, something very similar to this, and they say, I want to replace my ski, or like, what do I do? And that's when I tell them, maybe you start filling out, get a ski that's more niche, right? More specific. Because you have your all mountain ski and you said you love it. So let's keep it. If you're in a financial stance to do that, let's keep that ski. And then look at something either a bit wider or a bit narrower, right? And you can see I organized my skis by waist width because I am a crazy person. Anyways, so if you were in a 104, 100, and you were like, I don't get a ton of powder days in, I'd love something that just slayed the groomers. Then go narrower, get something like a Vocal Deacon, something like a Rosignol Black Ops, what else? Even an Elon Ripstick would be sweet, right? Something a little bit lighter, still versatile, but would really shine on the groomers, right? Because then in that Venn diagram that we were talking about, they're not going to overlap. So you can still enjoy your full mountain ski, but then if you're just going to be just ripping groomers, you get your groomer ski. And then on the other hand, if you say, oh, well, I really want to get more into powder skiing, you don't have to full commit to something like a 120 if you think that's too much. You could get something like a 112, even something like a 108, but with a bigger shovel on it. Something that comes to mind would be like the QST 106, the QST Blank. The Bent Shetler 110 would also be an awesome option. The Armada White Walker is kind of a unique ski, but that would be really cool. So these options can really help you flesh out your quiver without feeling like you overcommitted, if that makes sense, or replacing. You don't have to have a wall of skis to fill the archetypes of terrain, right? So yeah, that's kind of what I really wanted to hit home today, because I used to get a lot of questions about this at the shop, and new skis are coming out, so people get excited and have questions. But each of my skis fill in a different spot for me, and I love being able to share that with you guys. So it's a little bit of a shorter stream, on about 20 minutes. But if you guys have any questions, drop them in the chat real quick while I tell you about a little bit more about my Gallant skis. So the shift binding is actually getting an upgrade for 2026-2027 year, which is really sweet, because the shift binding in its first iteration, which is this iteration, had a lot of issues. those issues were, AFD slide, which is this guy here, the way it's set. We had some fragile pieces breaking, but now they've revamped that. And this binding allows a ski to become hybrid, fully hybrid, meaning you could hike up and ski alpine with it, which is really awesome. So, and then the tried and true look pivots are kind of a classic for everybody. Everybody really loves the pivots, and the reason that is because the heel piece has a 360-degree rotation, allowing for a better elasticity, and if you come out, it's a little bit of a safer ejection because your foot is ejecting from the heel and the toe, allowing a cleaner exit in hopes to make sure you don't get hurt, right? Another interesting fact, and I'm hoping that more skis get announced coming out, because the technology, all of the expo shows are going on right now, so people are getting excited and posting all the new stuff. We got new skis, Armada's looking really good, but Tyrolia is doing something that's really interesting. It's interesting because they're trying to be like the pivot and allow a cleaner exit from the heel of the binding. However, the heel piece that they're using to do that is their 11 heel piece. So what that means is, in binding terms, the higher your number is, the stronger your spring is in there, and usually the price goes up too. But there's other features that people don't really recognize that are included as you move up in that binding price and that binding number. So if we take the pivot, for example, the pivot 15 is full metal toe piece, full metal heel piece. You drop down to the pivot 14 and you're looking at a not full metal toe piece. So you're cutting down on weight, which is great for some people, but this is just things to keep in mind. Now, for the 11 versus the 14 for the Tyrolia, is the 14 has what they call a 3-piece step-in system, which allows you to step in more easily or more seamlessly. So something like the shift, or I guess the rest of mine are Tyrolias. So something like the pivot, I guess the shift is 2-piece. You really have to stomp into that binding to get it to lock in. However, with the Tyrolias, you don't have to step as aggressively because that 3-piece system allows it to hinge differently so that you can step in softer and still get that hard click. So the reason I tell you that is because their new binding that is trying to be like the pivot and be able to swivel for a cleaner exit, they're not using the 3-piece step-in system, they're using the 2-piece or the single. Meaning you have to step in harder to get it to react, which was my biggest selling point when I used to sell Tyrolias, was I told people they're easy to step in. Well, now if they change that, it's not easier to step in. So they're getting rid of this convenience factor to compete with the pivot. But everyone who wants the pivot motion is just going to get a pivot, right? So very interesting that they chose to do it that way. We'll see how it sells, right? I'm sure it'll sell like gangbusters because a lot of people don't realize all the things I just told you. So it'd be cool if they could develop it, but still have the 3-piece heel system. Anyways, that was quite the rabbit hole I went down. But if all these skis were gone and I were to buy 2 new pairs of skis, I would look at something like the Armada Idolo 98. I think it's a 98. It used to be a 98. That would be like my daily driver, or something like the QST. I think it's a 96 now. The Dynastar Menace 96. I don't think they make that anymore. The Dynastar Free. Those would be like the freestyle options that I think would really fit my kind of all-mountain style. And then the second ski I would get would be something like the Bent Chetler 110, maybe a Hoji, which is a 112, right? Then we could do a Renegade would be serious. That's probably That's a lot of ski, but that'd be fun. That's like a 122, I believe. Wonder Alpine, the whatever their powder ski was called, they're no longer in business. I don't know if that would make their ski resell for higher or lower. And then another powder ski would be like the Armada White Walker, would be really sweet. So you can look at your own situation and think, okay, what ski do I want to sell my current ski and then dive into 2 skis? Do I have 2 skis and want to get a 3rd ski? Right? Then it will just be adding another circle to that Venn diagram. Another thing I want to reference is Blister. They're great. They're a phenomenal resource for learning about skis and seeing what's new, but they have a section in their buyer's guide where they talk about a 2 ski quiver or even a 3 ski quiver and how they would match up with the skis of that year. So if you have any more questions about that, check that out. Once again, drop a comment and I'm happy to talk more about that. Hope you guys are all having a wonderful 2026 so far. We gotta keep praying for snow, but I'm super grateful for the opportunity that I had to talk to each of you and share my love and passion about skiing. So let's keep it up. I'm gonna keep posting, and I kind of fell off during December just because we have holidays and different things like that. But now until the end of the season, it should be every other week, Tuesday nights. So I look forward to seeing you all here, and I hope that you all have a wonderful night. Thank you so much.